Okay, now that we have this open, let's start identifying things. So we are going to start, we've already identified our liver here. The easiest thing to do is go right before the liver. We're going to start cutting some of this stuff out so we can see it better. We're going to have a small point of attachment. This is a group of a couple things. Arteries and veins, supplying oxygen and nutrients, and our esophagus, which delivers the food to our stomach. There's some connective tissue in there, but we should be able to do a nice little incision and get those out. So, once we cut that, the liver is exposing something on the top side here, and that's the diaphragm. And we'll see that better after we remove some of these pieces. From there, we just want to kind of be careful with that. We want to cut superficially, removing our stomach from our liver. We're also going to have some portions connecting to the small intestine, and that little duct connects to the small intestine, allowing for us to deliver bile to our small intestine. So this is our liver here. On the back side of the liver, right here, is the gallbladder. So that's really important. This tube right here, if you can see, it's coming in. This is feeding arteries into our liver. That's really important that we have that in there. And so that's giving a lot of nutrients on there. And so on the top side, I've cut part of this off. That's the esophagus, portion of the esophagus coming down. This is the tube that feeds from your mouth to your stomach. And so this is our gallbladder. Our gallbladder stores bile, and our liver is a filtration device. There are multiple lobes to a liver, and it is the only organ that you can do a live transplant on. So a little piece of it, and it will go through fragmentation and regrow. Let's set this off to the side. Liver is very dense material. So our next one that we can go to is this right here. And this is our stomach. Our stomach will have a few connection points on the back side for arteries and veins. We can also see here, there's not a lot. Get rid of that blood. But we can cut right here. This is removing very nicely. It's held on by some connective tissue. But a few things that we can see. One, this is kind of covered in blood and a little hard to see. I'm going to rinse it off really quick for you so you can see this a little bit better. And that's going to expose a few things. One, you can see really nicely our stomach. This sac right here. Our stomach connects to our small intestine. This first part is called the duodenum. One thing we can see within our small intestine that it was a little harder to see within our frogs, but it's easy to see here. The mesentery, this is this fibrous material. This is full of veins and arteries. This is connected to your small intestine, and it actually connects to your circulatory system, delivering all the food and nutrients to the rest of your body. Really important that we go through that. We can see on this side, that's our spleen. We can also see our pancreas. And the pancreas, I can find it, looks like a little bump, like a little bean, stuck to the side of your small intestinal, yes, right here. Get that in there. This bean-like appendage is your pancreas. Nice little bean here. That is delivering insulin to the entirety of your body. Again, we can see how wonderful the intestinal tract is. It's mesentery. This connective tissue here. The stomach. the spleen all working together. And so because they're kind of cool, I want to take off some of these so you can actually see them individually. Now I have cut my spleen just a little bit, so it kind of looks not so hot right now. So I'll set him off to the side. I'm going to remove my stomach. And if you couldn't find the pancreas right away when we start going through this, so this is our stomach. The stomach, because these are fetal pigs, it will have contents in them. However, the contents are much more fluid-like, and the stomach hasn't really been used for solid food yet. It's just had some other nutrients and stuff in there at this point, and so it's just little bile and waste products. It's kind of gross, almost blood-like, and we don't see a lot of grooves yet because it was just full of fluid. So that's our stomach. To see the small intestine really, really well, we have to cut the mesentery, which is this elaborate host that we see. And so this connective tissue just cuts really nice. And then this is easy to string out and actually starts unraveling just like you would anything. So once you start breaking that connective tissue to make the mesentery, it's really easy to unravel. We'll get to see that connective tissue come apart. Be careful, this is really fragile. This is not, you can just see, oh my gosh, look how long the intestines are. And see, I broke, that's the mesentery right here. That's that part. I broke the intestine a little bit. So we can see our intestinal tract is here. This is all small intestine. You see how thin it is? Huge. Very long. Meters worth of intestinal tract within one individual. And then we keep going. We're just gently removing that from the connective tissue. It will break. This is a little bit thicker than what we had earlier. This is probably part of the colon. Your colon, or your large intestine, is broken up into the ascending, descending, and then what we know is our colon. Whoop! See this finger-like projection right here? Really nice. It's kind of stuck like a little finger. Outside, it has a dead end. That's your appendix. And so that one is hard to find if you don't start taking all of yours. So this is my colon on this end. Oops. So I'm going to remove some of this. A little stuck here. Oh, you can see that some black stuff has come out. That is poop. Babies do have a bowel movement very quickly after birth. And so we can see that this intestine, I'm going to do a little cut here, can go on for well over 1 meter in length. I'm trying to get this so I can see my out doing too much damage. Gotta get my little bean-like structure with my appendix, not my appendix, my pancreas. And I've kind of hit that a little bit. So I'm going to remove that pancreas from there and out of there. Okay, now what we have left is something a little bare. These right here are already encased. These are the kidneys. On the top side here, this is the diaphragm. This muscle allows for breathing. It's also a very thin, strong muscle that allows for the separation of those cavities. And then from there, we can start seeing our urinary system. And so we're going to pause for a second and go into our urinary system.